Hi, I am Wendy Nelson, CEO of LeadingBiotech, and I want to welcome today Stuart Chaffee, Chief Business Officer of Praxis Medicines, for a brief discussion on fundraising during a pandemic. To begin, Stuart, you want to introduce yourself?
I would love to, and great to see you, Wendy. I think I can probably speak for many of us when I say that being holed up at home, I miss our biotech community and appreciate all that you and LeadingBiotech do to bring us together. So hopefully getting back to that sooner rather than later.
Let's hope.
Let's hope. So I am Stuart Chaffee. I'm the Chief Business Officer of Praxis Medicines. We are a clinical stage neuroscience company with multiple programs and diseases ranging from very severe orphan epilepsies to much broader diseases like major depression, a disease state that's probably more relevant than anything these days, given the amount of stress created by the COVID-19 situation.
So true. Excellent. Thank you, Stuart. Now, first of all, I'd like to congratulate you and your team at Praxis Medicines on May 4th. It looks like you guys launched with over 100 million in financing from investors Blackstone Life Sciences, Novo Holdings, Vita Ventures, and even Tide. Did this amount surpass your goal and expectations?
So thanks. And I would say that our financing strategy for Praxis has always been very deliberate and thoughtful, even from the inception. And so the amount of money that we raised was actually, exactly in line with our strategy, which was to finance the company through to the next set of key value inflection points. But also, admittedly, given these times, we did build in some thinking around creating some optionality around being able to navigate through some macroeconomic uncertainty that may persist through the second half of this year and frankly into the beginning of next year. So that was layered into it as well. I will say, certainly an interesting time to go out and raise money, given the massive swings in the markets almost on a daily basis over the last several months. I can't say that I knew exactly what we were going to be facing going out there, but I will say that overall, I was very, positively surprised at the robustness of the biotech investment community through this situation. Certainly, nobody is going unscathed through this situation, but it was very clear to me through this process that the biotech investment community is certainly taking the long view here, and that the investment fundamentals remain intact. And I would say, if anything, perhaps this situation has even highlighted the need to continue to invest in biotech and new therapies to improve, human health to address situations exactly like this.
That's great to hear, Stu. Excellent. Did you meet with unexpected challenges or issues though during your fundraising efforts because of COVID?
Well, I would say that, as a company, Praxis, we've been pretty fortunate overall in that we've got, we're lucky to have a pretty robust and diversified pipeline of assets. And as you mentioned, we also have a really supportive group of early investors. And those two things always actually make it a lot easier to go out and raise money. So in that respect, we were a bit lucky in this situation. But I guess I'll reflect on a few dynamics that I did notice as we went out and spoke to potential investors. And it seemed like the impact of COVID-19 on different investors was almost on a fund by fund basis. And when I say that, a lot of funds, very recently had just raised large pots of money. And, for them, their investment thesis remained intact and they still have to put that money to work. And so there was actually, a good number of folks that, I would say that, it wasn't business as usual, but it was fairly close to that. The impact for those folks was probably more that, I would say the bar was raised a little bit and they may have been a little bit more selective, but they were fundamentally still out there to put money to work. I would say that there were a few other funds that were probably later in their fund cycle and as such were, a little bit more defensive and probably hunkering down on their existing portfolio, rightly so, just to make sure that they have enough money, to fund those portfolio companies through the next 12 to 24 months of volatility.
Right. What was your key to driving the deal home?
Well, as with many things, biotech data always trumps, and we were frankly lucky to have just recently generated pretty compelling phase 2 data on one of our lead programs. So again, that was just lucky in terms of timing, and that did make it a lot easier. But I will have to say that I have to give a lot of credit to our team. I would say, more than ever with this type of uncertainty out there, investors are betting on people and teams of people that they think are going to be able to navigate not just the normal ups and downs of science that we face as biotech, but doing so in the context of this economic uncertainty. So I think those were the two key things. Robust science and happen to have a nice data set, but also just a great team of people that, smart, good people that love to come to work together every day.
Excellent. And do you have any advice for others trying to fundraise over the next several months during this ongoing situation?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I don't have any revolutionary advice here. And so, I was sort of thinking about this a little bit. I guess what I could, try to distill it down to is that, in a situation like this, there are things that you can predict and that you can control, and there are things that you can't. And a few things that are key to being able to raise, equity financing. Having a robust financial market certainly helps. Having high quality science and a nice data set certainly helps. And then back to my last point, having a really strong team in place is certainly key. The first two things, frankly, I don't know how predictable or controllable they are. I'm not sure that 6 months ago anybody would have predicted that the economy would look like it does right now. So I'm not sure that was entirely predictable or controllable. On the science side, as smart as we are as a human race, I would argue that we're still not very good at predicting how science is going to pan out. So I'm not sure how controllable that one is either. But one thing that we can all control is, surrounding yourself with good, smart people that love to work together and that, can navigate these times of uncertainty. And so I would say that that's probably the biggest one for me is just getting a great team together that loves to work together.
Sounds great, Stu, and that's why I called you in today to share your words of wisdom. So thank you very much. Really appreciate it, and fantastic seeing you. Hopefully, we can see each other live in the near future. All right, take care. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Wendy.
Bye.